everyone. My name is Tiffany Brown, and I am the author of my new book, Earn Your Wings, a 30-day journey from survivor to advocate. I am a survivor advocate myself. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I'm also a survivor of sexual assault. I started sharing my story in college, talking about intimate partner violence and sexual assault by someone that you know. And I did that because I felt as if it was a story that needed to be told because I was raped by someone that I knew and that I was close to. And so I wanted to share my story to be able to help other women and men on my campus to learn about sexual assault, and especially sexual assault by someone that you know or you have an acquaintance with, called acquaintance rape. So, I also found that in sharing my own story that it was helpful to others who were hearing my story that might have been victims or had been in situations that might have ended up being a rape or sexual assault case. I found that by sharing my story that I was able to help others. But it was also very therapeutic to myself as an individual to share my personal story and help others. So I'm a very, very big advocate for sharing your story and inspiring others, but also speaking up, sharing your stories and inspiring others through your personal story. I say that in two different ways because when we share our story with people that we know or that people that are close to us or paid supports that are there to help us through the trauma, then at that moment it might not be too therapeutic. It actually might be even more traumatizing. But as you start getting more comfortable with sharing your story, as the healing process starts, and you share your story with someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else, you might find that it is very helpful for you mentally, emotionally, and maybe even physically and spiritually to share your story. It can be therapeutic to you as the survivor of the trauma. However, if you know anything about peer support, then you know that the best person that can help another person is a person who's already been through it. I'm going to say that again. The best person to help another person through a trauma is a person who has already survived the trauma. So it's not a person who has a doctorate degree or a PhD or someone who has read countless books about the trauma event. It is a person who has actually survived the trauma. That is the best and the most powerful testimony to being able to survive, to be able to thrive, and to be able to share your story and help others, to inspire others to share their story. That is definitely something that I find is very, very, very beneficial when talking to domestic violence victims. If you're a domestic violence survivor yourself and you are talking to another domestic violence victim, then you're giving them hope that they don't have to stay in unhealthy, toxic, and abusive relationships, that there is a way to get out, that there is a way for you to get out of a domestic violence relationship and go into a healthy relationship, that you can survive, your children can survive, and you can have a happy, fulfilling, healthy life as a domestic violence survivor. So that's just one form of trauma that I have found that sharing your story has been a tremendous benefit to others. But also with sexual assault, also with child abuse, also with surviving even a hurricane or a natural disaster. When you, as a victim or a survivor, inspire others by sharing your own personal story of surviving and thriving and now being an advocate, you will help someone else who may have already gone through the trauma and is now a victim, working through and progressing through their healing journey. Or you might be able to help someone, like a young lady who is in a relationship that doesn't realize that it's an abusive relationship, or a young man who goes out to a nightclub and is attacked by someone who tries to rape them. They are able to get through that without the actual physical act of rape, but just an assault itself that could have possibly become a sexual assault, And now they're hearing from you some risk factors and some things to look out for to protect themselves if they're ever in a situation like that again, can be most beneficial when it's coming from someone that is a survivor of sexual assault. So, those are just a couple of examples. Trauma is defined as an emotional response to a terrible event. So that can be domestic violence, it can be sexual assault, it can be child abuse, neglect, maltreatment. It can be a tornado, a tsunami, a hurricane, natural disasters. It could be violence in the community where you're living in an environment where violence is a common thing in your neighborhood or in your community. It could be the loss of a child by violence. There's so many moms and dads that I come across who want to share the story of surviving the death of their children, which is something I never want to go through, but unfortunately it happens on a daily basis. It's also a trauma that maybe a school shooting has happened and you've lost your best friend or you lost your teacher to that shooting. Any terrible event that gives you a strong emotional response that you are not able to recover or heal from in less than 30 days is a traumatic event that most likely has caused or will be a form of PTSD that you have to endure and that you have to work through. Any terrible event that causes a drastic emotional response is trauma. You defined that trauma for you in your life. No one can define what is traumatic to you but you. So, I wrote this book to help others who want to share their story of surviving trauma to inspire and help others. It is not easy to share your story. It is not easy to share your story and intimate details of what you went through, yourself, your family, or your children, or your community. It is not easy to go and talk to people that you do not know, who do not know you personally, and can say, yes, I know her or him. It is not easy to go and share your story, a traumatic story that happened to you. It is not easy. So, the reason why I wrote Earn Your Wings was not just for people who have a traumatic event, who, just want to read about it. It's really an action plan. It's really a journey that you will go through as you read this book. This book is good for someone who is a survivor of a traumatic event and they want to learn how to heal and process it. This book is also good for those who have been a victim of traumatic events who is having a hard time with healing and going forward in their healing journey. This book is also good for people who are survivors. There is a difference between being a victim and being a survivor, and it starts with your mental. Okay? More about that later. So, this book is also for survivors. So, a person who has moved forward from the trauma, they are living their daily lives in a forward motion, someone who is seeing more good days than bad days. They are a survivor who now is wanting to use their story to inspire others, to help others, to help with prevention, to help on the maybe the county and state levels, to be able to help people, to help your community. You want to share your story in some way, shape, or form to help one person that you don't know. I say that because helping one person in an audience of 100 is victory. It is progress. You have met your goal. You have accomplished something. Even if you're in a room of 100 people and one person is inspired by your story or one person is helped by your story, you have accomplished your goal. If you have a group of friends over and y'all have this intimate conversation and you start sharing your story, and it inspires even one of those people in attendance, you have met your goal of helping someone. So it doesn't matter how big the group is. It can be 3 people, it can be 100 people, it can be 1,000 people. If you want to share your story, if you want to inspire others to share their story so that they can help our community come up with better laws, better policies, better training, better preventive methods, or just to help someone avoid becoming a victim, or help someone who's a victim become a survivor and get through their journey to healing, then I would love to work with you. This book is for you. This book is also for people who are already advocates in their community, who are already survivor advocates that are out there sharing your story, that need some more additional tips, who are needing some additional inspiration, who are needing to reset, who might have, taken off for a couple of years because COVID was here and you couldn't get out into the community like you wanted to. This book is for anyone who has had a traumatic event, who is either currently a victim and trying to work through it, who is currently a survivor, who is currently sharing their story, who is currently wanting to share their story, or you just want to read something inspirational and motivational to help someone, your community, your school, your coworkers, your friends, your family, just one person. You just want to help one person. Now, I know that your goal as a survivor advocate and as a speaker is to help multiple people. But let me tell you that do not be disappointed if you start this journey and you only help one person, or you only help 5 people, or you help 10 people. On this journey, if you are on this journey, no matter how many people you reach, no matter how many people you touch with your story, know that you are successful at your mission and your goal to help someone, no matter how few the numbers. Even if you just reach one person, you have met your goal. But I hope that once you reach that one person, that first person, that you will continue on this journey to sharing your story and helping others. Because it takes people like you and I who have survived, who are thriving, who are wanting to help others, who are wanting to be advocates, who are wanting to be community leaders, who are wanting to make a difference, because we are living in a crazy, horrible world where people out here do not care about other people. People out here who on a daily basis want to hurt other people. People out here who have mental health diagnoses that are not in check, and those mental diagnoses are causing them to hurt other people, whether it's because they're hearing voices, they're having hallucinations, or they honestly just do not have the empathy for other people. People hurt people every single day. This world is going to shits. Excuse my language, but it is. So if you have faith, if you have hope, if you have the desire to help someone else, the best way to help others is by sharing your story. If you know anything about peer support is a paid role or unpaid role that many organizations have that are in the mental health field and the health field. And I will talk about this in Earn Your Wings, that the best person to help another victim, or to help victims, or to raise awareness, or to put laws in place, or prevention in place, intervention in place, is a person who's been through it. How many people want someone to come and talk to them about surviving domestic violence who's never been in an unhealthy, which is not rare, which is not common, that no one has ever been in an unhealthy relationship? But it's possible. There might be people out here who's never been in an unhealthy relationship, right? So, but who wants to hear from someone who has never ever been in a domestic violence relationship, trying to tell you how to get out of a domestic violence relationship, trying to tell you the effects of domestic violence when they've never experienced it themselves? No matter what kind of PhD you have, doctorate you have, books you read, you cannot in any way, shape, or form be able to give the same impact to people in your community if you've never experienced it. Now, I'm not saying that you can't make an impact. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if there are people out here who have never been raped, who have never been in a violent relationship, who have never been in a natural disaster, who have never been abused as a child, who have never had a family member or a child killed violently. There are people that have never experienced any of those things, and they are helping the community in huge ways. I'm not saying that they're not valid. I'm not saying that they can't help people. What I am saying is that as a survivor of a traumatic event, situation, occurrence, whatever you want to call it, as a survivor, you can make a greater impact. You can make an even bigger impact because you've been through it and you survived it and you're here and you want to tell your story. I'm a survivor advocate. You can be a survivor advocate too. The only thing you need is the desire to help people, a genuine desire to help someone else, and be willing to be open and transparent and share your story. That's all you need. To be a survivor of a traumatic event, you are in your healing journey. You can't be still in that victim mentality and not doing anything for yourself, and you can't. You have to be in a place of healing, or at least on a healing journey where you're having better days than bad days, even though we all have bad days. I still have bad days as a survivor. And even though I know that I'm a survivor and a thriver, I still have bad days. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying that you have to be a survivor for years and years and years. What I'm saying is that you need to be in a good mental place to help others. And even if you're having a bad day, and even if you still are, in that mode where you don't feel like you're having better days than bad days, you can still have an impact. And I'm not saying that any story is invalid. I'm not saying that because you're not a survivor that your story and your impact is not great. But what I am saying is that when you're talking to a room of other victims, or you're talking to someone who is a victim, or you're talking to someone who has risk factors that can put them in a position to be a victim of abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, all of those things, I'm saying to you that as a survivor, you can have a tremendous impact. You can save lives because you are here to tell your story. You are alive to tell your story. And it's time for you to share your story, even if it's just to one person. And I want to be there. I want to help you through the process. I want to help you through your healing journey if you're still on it. But I'm going to tell you that if you're a survivor of any kind of trauma, you're going to be on your healing journey for the rest of your life. Even if 364 out of 365 days is great, you're always going to be on a healing journey because there's triggers, there's emotions. We're imperfect. We're not perfect. We're still going to have bad days. If you are a survivor of any form of trauma, any kind of trauma, I don't care what it is, your trauma is your trauma. I can't tell you that your trauma is not trauma. No one can tell you that your trauma was not traumatic enough. No one can say that your story is not good enough to tell. If you have a story, if you're a survivor, you want to tell your story, you want to use your story to inspire others and help others, then try this. Work with me. You'll have one-on-one coaching with me. You'll have a group and other advocates that will be around you to take you in, to walk you through the process, to give you tips and suggestions, and share their stories with you about how they are successfully sharing their stories and helping others and making an impact. If you want to share your story, there's a lot of coaching programs out here. Not one is better than the other, but take it in. Take it in. Whether you do it with me, whether you do it with someone else, whether you do it, a couple months down the road, a couple years down the road, do it. If you have the desire, if you have the will, if you have the passion, if you have the dedication, if you have a calling, you're hearing this voice in your head that is saying, girl, dude, share your story. Tell somebody. Share. Help someone else. Help someone else survive. Save one person's life. Help someone get out of their situation. Help them live. Help them thrive. Help them grow. Help them heal by sharing your story. You are the best advocate that our community could ever ask for. Share your story, inspire others, help others. That's what my book is all about. Okay? It's not expensive. It's maybe a meal for your family at McDonald's. It's not an expensive book. I promise you that it will help you through your journey, even if at the end you say, you know what, maybe this is not really what I'm ready for. I encourage it for anybody who's ever been through anything traumatic, anything that has just pulled your soul and took you down. Even if you're not ready to publicly share your story, I encourage you to read it to help you on your healing journey, to help you with making self-care a priority. We talk about that in my book, Earn Your Wings, a 30-day journey from survivor to advocate. And it's not just for new advocates. It's not just for new survivors. It's for victims. It's for survivors. It's for current advocates. It's for future advocates. It's for advocates that took a break during COVID. It's for community leaders. It's for organizations. It's for everybody. Anybody and everybody who's ever been through anything. No matter how small someone may say it is, or no matter how huge it was. It's your story. You have a story to tell. If you want to help others, if you have a passion, if you have a calling, if you're feeling it inside, share your story. I hope I inspired you. Let's get out here and help people. Because this world, I'm telling you, it's not getting any better. And it's going to take faith, and it's going to take people like you to make a difference. Start today. Start today. Reach out to me. Let's talk about it. You can go on Amazon. You can get my book, Earn Your Wings, a 30-day journey from survivor to advocate by Tiffany L. Brown, or Tiffany Brown. And you can go ahead and start your journey today. If you would like some one-on-one coaching, mentoring, if you would like a network built around you to help you on your journey, I would love to have you for the Earn Your Wings cohort 1. So I started the cohort in October. It was right before the holidays. We took a break for 2 months, and I was like, you know what? This was not a good month to start right before the holidays. So it's starting all over. So those that were already in it, you have a pass. We're starting all over. This is January. We're starting fresh. It'll go from January to June, and then from July to December. So January to June to December, should I say? Sorry. January to June to December. Those are the 2 core cohorts that are going on this year. If you're interested, you have a story to tell, you want to help others, you want to be a part of your community, you want to be a part of change, you want to be a part of someone's healing journey, or you just might need it for yourself, please reach out to me. We'll love to work with you. And please, 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 for you, for your community, for your family, if you have a story to tell it and help somebody else. Earn Your Wings, a 30-day journey from survivor to advocate. Have a great night.